The thing about writing for me with you is it feels like a responsibility for you. Is that right? Does it feel like something you were? It's like your calling. I don't know if that's the right expression for it. It's something that you. It's not that just that you do it. It's that you have to do it.
Yeah, I think I would say it's survival.
Okay.
I think, and I speak about my childhood not to garner pity. Okay, I just want to say preface by saying that, but just to understand the context of my life. I think when I was younger, so many terrible things were happening around me and to me that I didn't know how to survive. I really didn't know how to keep my brain together and my heart together. And so I think writing very early on became a way of creating almost an alternative persona where I could begin to express and try to understand and trying to give voice to what was happening to me. And somehow if I could do that, I could live. I could keep going. It was like some other spirit could emerge in me that wasn't being suppressed or violated or violently abused in the situation that I was living in. And I think even now, if I can write about it, I can find my way through it. I can keep going. I think something I've becoming very, very aware of that, we often get into the hierarchy of suffering, who suffers more, who has the worst suffering. But I think actually all of our suffering is all of our suffering. There is no hierarchy. And I think that inside every trauma is the story of every trauma. Inside every abuse is a story of all abuses, And so for me, sitting in a Bosnian camp of women who have just been returned, refugee camp, women who have just been returned from a rape camp, and listening to women's stories, there's no part of me that isn't attached to that experience. I know what that experience is. I know what it is to be raped. I know what it is to be raped by people who once loved you, who were your community, who have now turned against you. I know what it is to feel abandoned and bereft and no one's coming for you. There's nothing about that experience I don't know. And I think to make it real is to make it real for yourself. It's like, where do you connect with that experience? And not to take away the magnitude of that, but to be able to have empathy and to be able to be present is to bring whatever your experience is to that, so you can hear it in a way where they know it's coming into you, and you know that you're present for whatever they're sharing.
I just want to touch really briefly, because I think we can't not mention the terrible things that are happening in the world at the moment. And I don't think people know you. I once phoned you up and said, I need you to write me a play, please, Fee. And I need it like next month. And it's for live television. So if you wouldn't mind. And you wrote a wonderful play about an older couple who own a house.
Yes.
Would you tell them? Because I think it's so pertinent to what's happening at the moment.
I'm so grateful that you asked me to write that play. Yeah, it was a play called Here. And it was about a couple who were in a house living there, and another couple arrives and says, it's my house. And it was really about what happened between those two couples when someone was coming to say, this isn't your house, this is my house. Obviously, it was about what was going on in Palestine and Israel and settlers coming and removing people from their houses. And I think I've been connected to the struggle. I've been in Palestine and Israel multiple times. I know it's almost impossible to talk about this without upsetting somebody. What I think I feel today more than anything, and I guess this is the root of my sorrow, is we don't pay attention to things until it's always too late. We don't look at what's going on with people and the suffering of people, that's been going on for so long for the Palestinians. Just in terms of being caught in Gaza in open air prisons, living without voting and having jobs and having freedom of movement and living in apartheid and living lives that are just unbearable. And we don't pay attention. We don't pay attention, and things come to these explosive moments. And all I know, and I just can say this, and I have to say this out loud, I cannot tolerate, I will not tolerate bombs dropping on children and women and blowing them up in rubble.